Silky's clock is very clever. Joe sat hunched up near to Moonface. Silky and Bessie and Fanny. Oh shit. There was a period I missed. Joe sat hunched up near to Moonface. Silky, Bessie, and Fanny talked together. The white goat sat on Bessie's knee and slept. The 7 hens tried to scratch the hard floor and clucked softly. "Where's my clock?" said Silky suddenly. Everyone looked round the room for it. It wasn't there. "It must have been left behind in the schoolroom," said Joe. "Never mind, Silky. You may get it back if we get out of here in 3 hours' time." "I hope so," said Silky. "It was a nice clock, and I liked it having feet to walk about on." "It's lucky not to be locked up with us," said Joe gloomily. "If there was a window in this silly round room, we might break it and escape through that, but there isn't even a small window. And there isn't a fireplace either," said Moonface. "If there was, we might squeeze up the chimney." "Listen," he said suddenly. "There's someone knocking at the door." They listened. Certainly there was someone outside, knocking gently. "Come in if you can," said Moonface. "Unlock the door if the key's left in." But the key wasn't left in. No, Dame Slap had taken that away, you may be sure. "Who's there?" asked Silky. "Ding dong," said a voice softly. "It's my clock," said Silky excitedly. "It's come to join us." "Ooh," said Moonface, his big face going red with joy. "Tell your clock to go and get the key from somewhere and let us out, Silky." "That's no good," said Silky. "I noticed that Dame Slap wore all her keys on a string that hung from her waist. The clock could never get our key from her." "Aw," said Moonface sadly. Everyone thought hard. "Ding dong," said the clock outside, and knocked again. "Look here, clock. It isn't a bit of good you're dinging and donging and knocking to get in," called Joe. "We're locked in this room, and we haven't got the key to get us out." "Dong," said the clock dolefully. Then it gave an excited ding and began to dance about on its big feet. Up and down with its door wide open. How do they know that? "Whatever is that clock doing?" "That dong has a ding in it." You want a clock that goes bing bong, not ding dong. "Whatever is that clock doing?" said Silky in astonishment. "Warming its feet, I should think," said Fanny with a giggle. But it wasn't. It was jerking about, trying to jolt its own key off the little hook inside it. And at last it managed it. Clang, the key fell to the ground. "Whatever is your clock doing?" said Joe to Silky. "It must have gone mad." But it hadn't. It was being very sensible. It kicked at the key with one of its feet, and the key slid under the door and into the room where the children were. "Ooh, look," said Moonface in astonishment. "Your clock has jerked its key off the hook and kicked it under the door." Silky. Really, it's a most peculiar clock. Joe snatched up the key. It might fit the door, he said. He tried it in the lock. It almost turned, but not quite. He was dreadfully disappointed. But Moonface grinned. He took the key and rubbed it with a little magic powder that he kept in a box in his pocket. Oh my. Now try it, he said. So Joe slipped it into the lock once more, and it turned right round and unlocked the door. They crowded quietly out of the room, Joe taking the clock's key with him. Silky gave the clock a hug and it said ding dong quite loudly with joy. Shh, said Silky. Don't make a sound. We'll try and find our airplane, said Joe. Let's try to get out of a door into the garden. We shall soon find it then. They tiptoed down a long passage, but just as they got to the end, who should they see coming along but old Dame Slap herself. Quick, hide behind these curtains, said Joe. They slipped behind them, but Dame Slap had heard something and came up to the curtains. She was just going to pull them apart when Silky's clock walked out, shouted ding dong in her ear, and trod on her toes. I hope this is the part they censored. Dame Slap gave a shout of rage and slapped the clock hard. I won't stand for clock abuse. It ran away down the passage with Dame Slap after it. We got her good. But at what cost? He clocked her good. I hope the clock gets out. I have a feeling he's gonna get, left behind. I don't know, though. I actually don't remember what happens. So, no spoilers. They wouldn't leave him, though, would they? The clock ran away down the passage with Dame Slap after it. Good old clock, said Silky joyfully. It just walked out and ding-donged in time. Another minute and we would have all been found. He's a war hero. Come on, said Moonface, peeping out of the curtains. We'd better do our best to get into the garden now, whilst the old dame is out of the way. They tiptoed down a long room and came to a door leading into the garden. Just as Joe was going to open it, he pushed them all quickly back into the room. Dame Slap is coming in here, he whispered. Quick, hide behind the furniture. Oh, wait, shit. Did I forget to show you guys the picture? I did. That's Dame Slap, the children, and the clock. Yeah, how could you hit him? Hide behind the furniture. So quick as lightning, everyone crouched down behind sofas and chairs, whilst Dame Slap opened the door and came in, grumbling. Wait till I get that clock. And at that very moment, the clock came running in on its flat feet and ding-donged very cheekily at her. Ding-dong, darling. I just remembered that catchphrase. Wow. Okay. And it ding-donged very cheekily at her. Dame Slap picked up her skirts and tore down the long room and up the passage after it. The children and Moonface and Silky, the hens and the goats, rushed to the garden door. Opened it, and crowded out into the garden. "Find the airplane, quick!" cried Joe. They ran down the path and looked for the shining airplane. "There it is!" shouted Moonface, pointing to the airplane lying on the smooth grass. They all ran to it and squeezed in. "I don't like leaving my clock behind," said Silky. "It's been so clever. I wonder where it is." "Look, there it is, with old Dame Slap after it," cried Joe. Sure enough, they saw the clock come waddling out from behind a bush, striking hard, and Dame Slap was after it, panting and very red in the face. The clock dodged neatly round a bush. Dame Slap tripped over a stone and fell down. The clock shot away to the airplane, and Silky helped it in. It sank down into a corner and struck 63 times without stopping. But this time nobody minded. I'm literally imagining it like the people run, but without the crying. Literally, that's the clock. Literally that, yes. Oh my god. And ding-donging all the way. Cheekily, even. Dodging nimbly. So Silky helped it into the airplane, and it sank down into a corner and struck 63 times without stopping. But this time nobody minded. They thought the clock was really quite a hero. Dame Slap picked herself up and ran towards the airplane. Joe pressed the up handle. The airplane quivered and shook. It rose gently into the air and left Dame Slap below, looking very angry indeed. "Answer this question," shouted Moonface, leaning overboard. "If 5 people, 7 hens, 1 goat, and a clock go up in an airplane, put down how many slaps should be saved up for when they get home?" Everyone giggled. "Do be careful where we land next time," said Bessie. "We really must get home soon." "I think I know where we are now," said Moonface as they flew over a curious land where the trees were yellow and the grass was pink. "If you can fly straight on till you come to a silver tower, then to the right till you come to the land of seagulls, and then to the left, over the 3 Bears Wood, we should be home." "Right," said Joe. He watched out for the silver tower, and when he saw it tall and gleaming, he pressed the handle marked to the right, and flew on till he came to the land of seagulls. This was quite easy to know, for all round and about, flying on snow-white wings, were hundreds of magnificent gulls. The airplane had to go slowly through the crowds of lovely birds. Joe flew to the left, and soon they were over the 3 Bears Wood, and they saw the rose-covered cottage where Goldilocks lived with the bears. "Good, now it won't be long before we're home," said Joe. He flew on till he came over the enchanted wood and then landed in a field not far from it. Everyone jumped out. That was the most exciting adventure, said Fanny, but I hope we never see Dame Slap again. Oh, quick, catch the clock, said Bessie. It's trying to climb out of the airplane and it's gonna fall. Dong, 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 said the clock, and it slid to the ground. How many times will this book get me to say dong? Surely no more than that. Dude, my face is like uncomfortably red while I'm reading. What's embarrassing about reading British childhood stories? We'll have to rush home now, said Joe, picking up his spade. Goodbye, Silky. Goodbye, Moonface. See you soon. Bessie, bring the goat, and Fanny and I will shoe the hens in front of us. They left the airplane for Moonface and Silky to do what they liked with, and set off home. And, dear me, how excited their mother was to see the green-winged hens, and the snow-white goat, and the fine garden spade. You must have been to the Enchanted Wood, she said. We've been much farther than that, said Joe. And they certainly had, hadn't they? And that was chapter 21. Thank you. Next up, probably next week. Maybe. Oh, if it's only 3 pages, maybe we can do a little more.